hey mate, can I hire a surfboard? And the guy in the surf shop says, no, you cannot hire a surfboard. Oh, why not? Because you'll die. It was... Hi everyone, and welcome to the UK Surf Show, the podcast that talks about surfing in the UK. We're your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Leighton. Thanks for tuning in to listen to us talk about surfing. So we're just basically going to elaborate on the trailer for this show, really, and talk about what we want the podcast to be. And hopefully if you guys can get in touch as well and tell us what you would like us to talk about, that would be great.
Okay, so if you want to know about ourselves, we have been surfing for
20 years.
20 years, yeah. About
But
20 years.
badly
For about 15, I think. Over the last 5 years or so, we've really got into it and really started to progress. I think you could call us 15 years of being a kook, getting in the way, pissing people off, getting shouted at, and just not feeling like you belong at all. But over the last 5 years, I think we've progressed massively, and we're now at a point where
we're now I'd class ourselves as average surfers now. So we're at the back at the lineup on like a swell day, which is about 4 foot ish, which is like a classic Saunton longboarding wave, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Out the back, catching green waves, and generally fitting in and not getting in the way anymore. There's many things we could talk about now, which we probably will, which I wish I'd done 20 years ago. The first being, have a lesson. Have a lesson. If I could go back 20 years and say to myself, you're not too good to have a surf lesson, just get on a board and have a lesson.
Yeah, but when we were younger and you surfing was about looking cool, wasn't it, back then? And
we never looked cool back then.
No. But we're walking around with the wrong boards and like messing around in the white water.
Yeah, with a 2 or 3 mil wetsuit on in the middle of December.
So the a lot of things that we did wrong was the wrong boards, no lesson, and also not going enough. Like the first 15 years were probably once or twice a year, which is, if you're looking at it on like a yearly basis, that's only 15 times in the water.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely, we just used to go down for birthdays or if there was a decent occasion. Over the last 5 years, I myself have been going every opportunity I can get, evenings, weekends, daytimes, just whenever the surf is good.
Yeah, so in the last 5 years, we've learned how to read the forecast a bit better. We've got our own boards, which makes it more accessible. Obviously, if you're going down in the evening, then all the surf hire places are shut. And also, we've selected the right boards now. We've done a lot of our own research on where to stand on the board, where to lay on the board, and just techniques on how to pick up the green waves. And what we have noticed is like the progression in surfing from beginner to intermediate seems to be the biggest jump. And I feel like we are going over that hump, and now we're kind of in that we're now classed as surfers, I feel now, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
But another problem that we have, which a lot of surfers have as well, we don't live by a surf break. Like, we're by the coast, but we're an hour and a half away. So our wave count per month is a lot less. We can only go, when the surf's good, and if it's a good surf midweek, it's in an evening.
Yeah, definitely. It's hour and a half away, depending who's driving, and as you say, sometimes it's a bit of a mission to get there. But once you get the bug for surfing, it doesn't matter what time it is, when it is.
Yeah.
If there's good waves, you're going to be going. You're gonna travel an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, even if you could go and guaranteed to get some good waves.
I think there's a lot of surfers out there. It's going to be like that as well. It's not like all surfers live by a surf break.
Yeah, and if you do live by a surf break, you're damn lucky.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's really helped us is, particularly for myself, I had a surf lesson last year in Newquay. And it was meant to be an intermediate lesson, so I thought this was going to help me get more waves, more green waves. But what I actually ended up doing is going back to basics and tweaking the things that I've got wrong, which was laying on the board in the right place. Really stupid, simple things. But those things, laying on the board in the right place, foot placement, just help so much. And that's progressed. And now we're both progressing quite rapidly now.
Yeah, as you say, back to the beginning is from the beginning, just go for a lesson. There are so many places around the UK you can get lessons, and hopefully as these podcasts go on, we'll be talking to a few of these people and getting some information off them and getting their input and asking them what they think makes a good surfer. Is it something that comes naturally, or is it something that you have to really, really work at?
Yeah, the other good thing with becoming a surfer, if you're looking at getting into it, is the surf community in the UK is just second to none, isn't it? After what we've read about and learned about over the kind of 20 years of wanting to be surfers and the last 5 years of actually becoming what we would class as a surfer, there's everywhere else around the world can be quite aggressive. It's quite difficult to penetrate the group, where in the UK there's a bit of a surf tribe going on, and once you're in it, you're looked after. It's a bit like a brother and sisterhood. Definitely.
I noticed there's a lot of people, a lot of surfers that we speak to now, and they're all, as long as you're trying to abide by the rules and you're not being an idiot, everyone's very welcoming, very understanding, very helpful.
Yeah, so we'll cover surf etiquette, won't we? What we've learned and what we've been taught by other surfers.
And what we've got wrong.
Yeah, what we got wrong, yeah. So there's been times where Pete especially has been on a tiny board, and when we were a lot younger, and gets on a wave, there's a guy swimming and Pete just plows straight into him and totally in the wrong part of the bay. So we'll go over the what the flags mean on the beach in the summer. They obviously don't have that in the winter because there aren't lifeguards in the winter, basically, which is another part of UK surfing is winter surf, because it is better.
I think that's another part of UK surf is there's this big thing in the surf community about secret spots. Oh, can't tell anyone a secret spot. Oh, don't say anything about that. Don't say anything about this, which is fair enough. But I think the reason a lot of people don't want secret spots to be known is that not only could it cause overcrowding, but a lot of these spots are very inaccessible to normal people. So you have to have your own stuff. You have to be willing to trek or whatever way there is to get to it. And there are no lifeguards there. So if you've got idiot people like us back in the day going down there, we would have not only put ourselves in danger, we would have put other people in danger, other surfers in danger, and other members of the public in danger as well.
Yeah, but if you found a good surf spot, you wouldn't tell anyone.
Oh yeah, too right. I wouldn't tell anyone.
You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm in this surf tribe, but sod him. This is mine.
Yeah, this is mine. I know exactly what you mean. It's a difference between going in the water in the summer and going in the water in the winter. You get a few kooky people in the winter, but most of the winter surfers are people who want to be out surfing and are pretty hardened to it. And it can get damn cold in the winter. I mean, we went was it last year or the year before, one winter, and I had to sit in the van for about 10 minutes after getting out of the water because I physically couldn't close my hands. It was so cold.
Well, we went earlier on in this year, didn't we? Just before the lockdown, really. That was our last surf before lockdown, was January in Newquay, and we caught like a really good weekend. And the sun was out, but it was still cold, really cold. And we went down with a friend as well, and he did the one day, didn't he? But he couldn't get in after that. I think we surfed all day on the Saturday, with the last surfers out in the evening, and then the first surfers back in on the Sunday morning. And that Sunday morning surf, after like a whole night of no sun at all, was bloody cold. I think it was actually frost on the snow as we walked down. But you know, that's what it is to be a UK surfer, isn't it? And I've listened to other podcasts, and guys from warmer countries come to the UK, and they witness the UK surfers, and they've said they're the hardiest surfers they've ever seen. Because this is all we have, and you need to make the most of it. What else are you going to do? You're not going to surf, are you? So, because every surfer out there, and any surfer that wants to become a surfer, will eventually find out once you catch your first green wave, there is just nothing else like it. It's like injecting pure adrenaline.
That's it, isn't it? It's that first wave, the feeling, the noise of it, the first proper wave. Once you're off that white water and you're surfing, and you stand up on a wave before it's broken, and everything down to the noise as the surfboard moves through the water, it like makes it gliding like a pierce as it goes through the water, and you run your hand across the face of the wave, or you're just standing up in pure joy and excitement of that feeling.
Yeah, well, and that feeling drives us down there after work at 5 o'clock, an hour and a half down to, so our nearest bay from where we live is Saunton. And when we get down there, and we'll surf for 2 hours, and it's an hour and a half back again. So you're sat in the van for 3 hours and only surfing for 2, but you go down and you only need to catch one wave, and it's that one wave that you're on for 20 seconds. And it makes it worth it. And then there's not another sport in the world where the actual thing that you've come to do is really short. Like most of the time we're either travelling, and then when you're in the water you're paddling, and then when you're not paddling you're sat waiting for it, and then when you get it you're only on it for 10 to 20 seconds at the most. There is not another sport in the world which is so small an amount of time.
You haven't been in my bedroom.
It's 20 seconds.
Legend. Yeah, no, it's definitely it's that thing, it's that feeling. You can't describe that feeling. It's something that you don't experience from anything else. It's one of those things, going out surfing, paddling out into the water, and you forget about all your troubles, everything in your day-to-day life that's been worrying you or annoying you or grinding at you, and you're out in the water and everything just fades away. And I think it's the only thing I can liken it to is a sort of meditation.
Yeah, there is a spiritual side to it, isn't it? And I know people are going to be, it's all airy-fairy and stuff, but hopefully this podcast that we end up doing are going to cover everything, you know, from the fitness side of it, which, you know, some people are going to be interested in that, but right through to like that spiritual side and, you know, the well-being side of it as well, because there are charities set up now in the UK. There's one in Newquay called the Wave Project, helping kids that have anxiety. Like, kids shouldn't have anxiety anyway, but kids they do now, don't they? Yeah, with like screen time and all this kind of stuff and social media, they never get a down time, except for when they're in the water. You know, you can't take mobile phone in the water, and they're in there solely focused on this one thing. And I think it also had something to do with nature. You're playing with nature. Like, what other sports do you know you play with nature? Like, if you go snowboarding, it's been snowing, but it's not moving. It's just on the hill. You know, you're playing with the force of nature, and it changes every time you're out there.
Definitely. It's one of those things that it's very, very difficult to describe the feeling until you've had that feeling. It's a euphoric feeling, surfing, in a way. It can be likened to nothing else, but as we say, it's just great.
Yeah. Well, hopefully these podcasts will inspire people that want to be a surfer, and the people that are surfers, especially in the UK, will kind of know what we're saying and where we're coming from.
So, as we were saying, through these podcasts, we're going to try and go through many different things. We're going to try and look at some interviews with some pro surfers and people in and around the surf community all throughout the UK. We're going to be looking at some fitness, and we're going to be looking at
some techniques, some surf techniques, so we can help people, can't we, with the things that we've done wrong. Like Pete said before, we're not by any way pros, we're not surf coaches or anything like that, but we've spent 15 years getting it wrong. So we've had a lot of experience in getting things wrong. So we can tell you and help you with the techniques that we've learnt. And we can talk about the surf community and culture as well, because like we said before, it's unique to this country. And the interviews you touched on then, we got some quite exciting ones already, and like this is like a new podcast.
We're not going to say
no, we're not going to say it is, just in case it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but we've got especially some local people that I'm really excited about as well, and we've also got a professional surfer lined up who's said they are very interested in doing the podcast, so that would be good if that comes through. Also, I was speaking to a friend today, and I was saying to him, he said to me before, I really want to get into surfing. How do I go about it? That's another thing we can cover in these podcasts. How do you start when you don't know what to do? He said,
what you do is you spend 15 years flailing around in the white water on the wrong board with a shit wetsuit, and then it eventually clicks.
It's got holes in it and stinks of someone else's piss. Yeah. Lovely.
And then you eventually go, do you know what? Instead of coming down here once a year, I'm going to give this a bit of a crack because I think I might enjoy it.
That's it, definitely. We'll look at stuff as well, like reading a surf forecast. Spent years just looking at how big the waves were going to be.
Breaking wave height, that was it.
Yeah, thinking that, wow, look at that. The waves are going to be like 12 foot. We go surfing. Yeah, you're not. You're not going to do it. If I looked at the forecast now and it said 12 foot, I'd probably be staying in.
I think we went down one year when they said it was going to be massive. Went down there.
We went to Woolacombe, didn't we, that year?
Yeah, nobody on the beach at all. It was pouring down with rain, gale force winds. That the water was so choppy it was turning into foam.
We went to the surf shop and Leighton says to the guy, "Hey mate, can I hire a surfboard?" And the guy in the surf shop says, "No, you cannot hire a surfboard." Like, why not? Because you'll die.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. If you've been to Woolacombe, the water there, the white water was hitting the dunes, and it was breaking. I don't know how far out, but it was the equivalent of being in Woolacombe, and it was a low tide, but the white water was hitting the dunes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. The foam was about 50 meters wide. Like you'd had to trundle through all this foam just to get to like the kind of the water's edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily I think that guy might have actually saved my life. But yeah, like I said, these are mistakes that we've made. Like we've been the worst kooks that you can be. So hopefully these podcasts will resonate with people.
Yeah, definitely. It's all very well wanting to go surfing, wanting to get in the water, wanting to have fun. There's no problem with that. It's when you start getting in the way of people and you can all of a sudden find people don't keep their cool as much. I think in the UK, because the waves break, you could go to the same beach 2 days in a row and the waves are completely different. And I think UK surfers have that appreciation of how difficult the conditions can be in the UK and how precious it is to get on a good wave.
Yeah. And so when we've been down recently and down to Saunton, you notice the local surfers just by how comfortable they are. The majority of surfers seem to be tradesmen. like us. They turn up in their vans, and so you can see that by the number, the telephone number on their van, that they're local surfers. And when they're out there, we do give them a bit of respect. Like if there is a decent wave coming in and they're local surfers, and then I kind of let them take it, and then I'll get like the next one or something like that. But I've also learned something called bottom feeding last week. So what you do is, if you're going out there to learn how to get better, you need your wave count higher, so you stay slightly closer into the beach and pick up all the waves that the other surfers aren't going for. And they're normally the crap waves, but you're getting your wave count up.
You either get the crap wave or you get the wave that flips you over.
Yeah.
And you end up like a washing machine.
You're in the wrong place, yeah.
Yeah. Also, on these podcasts, we'll try and talk about, as we've touched on before, flags on the beach, what to do on the beach, and stuff like rips and currents. I've been stuck in a rip myself, which was not pleasant at all. A bit of panic, and it's something you have to work out how to get out of. I've also been out on days when I've been surfing quite comfortably, and all of a sudden it's got a lot bigger. I've gone to go on a wave and thought, oh my God, what's this? The only thing I can liken that to is, I don't know, if you went to a skate park and you went to drop in on a mini ramp, and then your next step after your mini ramp drop in was a drop in on a vert ramp, and you look over the top and think, oh my God, I'm not going down that. Yeah. Can get a little petrifying out there sometimes. So knowing what you're doing is a very important step to becoming a surfer. And
not worrying about, if you can't surf the big waves, then it's fine. And also like the stigma between longboards and shortboards. We ride longboards. What is yours? 9.6 at the moment?
Yeah, 9.6 I'm riding at the moment, and I've got a 7.6 I use as well. But I've mostly, to be honest, the last year I've just been on a 9.6 and absolutely loving it.
Yeah, mine's just a 9.2. So what in the classic surf film North Shore, we'd be classed as soul surfers, and that's fine. I'm happy with that.
The classic North Shore.
So that's the other thing we can cover, isn't it? Is like our favourite surf films, like surf books and stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there. So
there's some really cool books out there at the moment. And there's some great old films out there. If you're going like North Shore or the UK one, Blue Juice, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it.
Yeah, no surfing in it, but it's about the surf culture. So hopefully these podcasts, you'll stick them on while you're at work to immerse yourself in the surfing scene that you love. Or you'll stick one on the way down to a surf session as a bit of motivation and inspiration. Not that you probably need it if you're a surfer anyway, because every time you look at that forecast, if the wind is green, the stars are up, and it's 3 to 4 foot, you're going to be there. So that's all the motivation you need. But that's what we're hoping, that you this kind of helps you through your downtime when you're not in the water.
Definitely. Well, that is a little bit about what these podcasts are going to be about. That's a little bit of background information about us, and you'll get more as it goes on. If you want any more information, follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube, and just look for the UK Surf Show. So all that's left to say is stay safe out there if you're going out in the water. And
and I think on next podcast we're going to talk about like the beginner to intermediate progression, aren't we? Like we feel like that is the hardest lump to get over, like that from what we've experienced. So that should be the next podcast.
Definitely. We've covered a few bits and pieces today, but as we go through, we'll go into much more detail. Goodbye.
Cheers.